Have you noticed how quickly muscle strength seems to disappear when you stop training or during periods of illness? In fact, research shows that after just 2 weeks of inactivity, healthy adults can lose up to a third of their muscle strength. That decline doesn't just affect how we look in the mirror. It impacts how we move, how we burn energy, and even how we protect our brain from aging. Here's the real kicker. Muscle isn't just about size or strength. It's an active organ that communicates with your immune system, regulates blood sugar, and even releases molecules called myokines that protect the brain against cognitive decline. So when we talk about rebuilding muscle, we're really talking about preserving independence, slowing aging, and keeping both the body and mind sharp. The good news? Science is revealing that certain natural compounds, many of them available in simple powder form, can dramatically accelerate the process of rebuilding muscle after loss. And no, I don't mean exotic supplements that cost hundreds of dollars. I'm talking about evidence-backed nutrients that can be added to a smoothie or mixed with water. Tools that give your muscles the raw materials and signaling power they need to grow back stronger. In this video, we're going to explore 5 natural powders that research shows can rebuild muscle faster. These aren't magic bullets, but when paired with good nutrition and movement, they can make a measurable difference. Here's what's coming. We'll look at one amino acid powder that works like a switch for muscle growth. We'll uncover a protein source that's twice as effective as others for repairing tissue. We'll talk about a plant compound that reduces inflammation while enhancing recovery. And we'll dive into a few overlooked micronutrients that power the mitochondria inside your muscle cells. Stick with me until the end, because the final powder on this list is not only muscle protective but also deeply connected to brain, performance, and longevity. Before we dive in, take a moment, hit the like button, and let me know in the comments how old you are and what your biggest challenge with muscle maintenance has been. I promise the strategies you'll learn today can help at any age. If you've ever wondered why some people can eat plenty of protein but still struggle to build or maintain muscle, the answer often comes down to one molecule: leucine. Leucine is one of the 3 branched-chain amino acids, but unlike the others, it has a unique superpower. It acts like a light switch for the body's main muscle-building pathway, called mTOR, short for mechanistic target of rapamycin. Think of mTOR as the master growth signal. When it's switched on, your body shifts into building mode, synthesizing new muscle protein. Without leucine, that switch stays dim, no matter how much protein you're eating. Here's what the research shows. A landmark study in the Journal of Nutrition found that leucine supplementation alone was enough to stimulate muscle protein synthesis in older adults, even when total protein intake was controlled. This is particularly important because as we age, the body becomes anabolic resistant, meaning it doesn't respond to protein as efficiently. In plain terms, someone in their 60s needs more of the right signals than someone in their 20s to get the same muscle-building response. So, why leucine powder instead of just eating protein-rich foods? Good question. While foods like eggs, chicken, and fish do contain leucine, the concentrated dose from a powder can ensure you're actually reaching the threshold required to flip on mTOR. Research suggests that the threshold is around 2.5 to 3 grams of leucine per meal for optimal stimulation. Many meals fall short of that without deliberate planning. Think of leucine as the ignition key in a car. You could have a full tank of gas, protein, but unless you turn the key, leucine, the engine doesn't start. Adding leucine powder to your daily routine ensures the muscle-building engine reliably turns over. Here's a simple protocol. Add 2.5 to 3 grams of leucine powder to a protein shake. ideally post-workout or with a meal that's lower in leucine. Pair it with a complete protein source, because while leucine sparks growth, the other amino acids are the building blocks needed to actually assemble new muscle. Consistency is key, especially for older adults looking to combat sarcopenia, the age-related decline in muscle. Now, you might be wondering, isn't leucine just another supplement hype? That's where the nuance matters. Unlike stimulants or trendy powders, leucine's role is hardwired into your biology. Every time you eat a leucine-rich meal, your brain and muscle tissue are having a conversation. Do we have enough resources to build? Supplementing ensures. The answer is yes. And here's something fascinating. Studies also show that leucine doesn't just help you build muscle, it helps preserve it during times of stress, illness, or inactivity. That means if you're recovering from surgery, dealing with a period of less activity, or simply trying to prevent age-related decline, leucine becomes even more essential. So, when you think about rebuilding muscle fast, leucine isn't just one more tool. It's the actual spark that tells your body, now is the time to grow. If leucine is the ignition key that starts the muscle-building engine, then protein is the raw material, the bricks and mortar your body needs to actually construct new muscle fibers. And when it comes to protein, not all sources are created. Equal. Enter whey protein isolate. For decades, it's been studied, debated, and compared against nearly every other protein source. Time and again, whey comes out on top, especially when it comes to rapid muscle rebuilding. Why? 2 reasons: speed and completeness. First, speed. Whey protein isolate is digested and absorbed faster than almost any other protein. Within about 60 to 90 minutes, amino acids from whey flood into the bloodstream, creating what scientists call a hyperaminoacidemia, a fancy word for a spike in available building blocks. That quick delivery is crucial after exercise, when your muscles are most sensitive to nutrients and ready to repair. Second, completeness. Whey contains all 9 essential amino acids, with one of the highest natural concentrations of leucine. Yes, the very switch we just talked about. In fact, 1 scoop of whey isolate often delivers that key leucine threshold needed to activate mTOR. Here's what the research shows. A study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition compared whey, casein, and soy protein. The results? Whey stimulated muscle protein synthesis about 30% more effectively than the others, largely because of its rapid digestion and leucine content. Another trial in older adults found that combining resistance training with whey supplementation significantly improved muscle mass and strength compared to training alone. Now, before we go further, let me pause and ask you something. If this kind of breakdown is helping you connect the science with real, usable tools, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. This channel is all about giving you practical, evidence-based strategies you can apply right away. And I'd love for you to be part of this growing community. Alright, let's get practical. If you want to maximize the muscle rebuilding benefits of whey protein isolate, aim for 20 to 30 grams post-workout. This amount reliably provides the leucine threshold plus a broad spectrum of amino acids. If you're not training that day, whey can still be useful as a between-meal snack to preserve lean mass. Look for whey. Isolate over whey, concentrate if you want higher protein content with minimal lactose, which is easier on digestion. And here's a key point most people overlook. Protein intake isn't just about how much you eat in a day, but how you spread it out. Studies suggest spacing protein evenly across meals, hitting that leucine threshold multiple times daily, is far more effective for muscle preservation than cramming it all into one big dinner. So, Think of whey protein isolate not as a bodybuilder's powder, but as a precision tool for anyone who wants to stay strong, mobile, and healthy. Whether you're in your 40s, 50s, or beyond, it's one of the simplest, most effective ways to tell your body, repair, rebuild, and keep going. When most people hear the word creatine, they picture bodybuilders or athletes trying to pack on muscle. But here's the truth. Creatine is not just for athletes. It's one of the most studied and safest compounds in nutrition science, and its benefits go far beyond strength. At its core, creatine is like a cellular battery charger. Every movement you make, from lifting a weight to climbing the stairs, relies on a molecule called ATP, or adenosine triphosphate. ATP is the energy currency inside your cells. The problem? Your muscles only store enough ATP for about 10 seconds of intense effort. After that, performance and power start to drop. This is where creatine steps in. Supplementing with creatine monohydrate increases the reserves of phosphocreatine inside your muscle cells. Phosphocreatine is like a backup battery pack that rapidly recharges ATP so your muscles can keep contracting with power and efficiency. The result? Not only can you train harder, but you also recover and rebuild faster because your muscle cells aren't constantly running on empty. And here's something many people don't realize. Creatine isn't just about muscles. Your brain uses enormous amounts of ATP as well, especially when you're focusing, problem-solving, or learning something new. Studies published in neuropsychology and psychopharmacology have shown that creatine supplementation can improve memory, reduce mental fatigue, and even support brain health in older adults. In other words, it's as much a cognitive enhancer as it is a muscle builder. Now, let's talk about the science of recovery. A study in the Journal of Strength and Conditioning Research found that people who supplemented with creatine not only gained more muscle mass but also experienced less muscle damage and inflammation after exercise. That means creatine doesn't just help you push harder, it helps you bounce back faster. So, how do you use it? The protocol is simple. To 5 grams daily of creatine monohydrate powder. No need for loading phases or complicated cycling. Consistency matters more than timing. Mix it with water, juice, or even in your protein shake. A quick analogy. Think of your muscle and brain cells like smartphones. Without creatine, it's like having a battery that only charges to 50%. With creatine, you're topping that battery up to 100%, which means more power, better endurance, and less burnout. Now, here's where it ties into muscle rebuilding. If you're dealing with muscle loss, whether from aging or inactivity, creatine helps ensure that when your body does get the signal to build, it has the energy reserves to follow through. Pair it with leucine and whey protein, and you've got ignition, building blocks, and battery power working together. Most people overlook creatine because they think it's only for bodybuilders. But if your goal is to maintain independence, keep your muscles strong, and even protect your brain as you age, creatine belongs in your daily routine. When people think of rebuilding muscle, they usually picture the muscle fibers themselves, the tissue that contracts and gives us strength. But here's a hidden truth. Muscle doesn't work in isolation. Every contraction you make depends on the connective tissue scaffolding that supports it. Your tendons, ligaments, and fascia. And that's where collagen peptide powder comes into play. Collagen is the most abundant protein in your body, making up nearly a third of your total protein. But unlike muscle proteins, which are rich in amino acids like leucine, collagen is packed with glycine, proline, and hydroxyproline, the exact amino acids your body needs to repair and strengthen connective tissues. Without strong connective tissue, muscle rebuilding becomes fragile, like trying to build a house on a weak foundation. Here's what the research shows. A randomized, controlled trial published in the British Journal of Nutrition found that collagen, peptide supplementation combined with resistance training significantly increased muscle mass and strength in older men compared to exercise alone. Why? Because collagen not only supports tendon health but also seems to interact with muscle tissue itself, likely by stimulating fibroblasts, the cells that repair connective tissue. Now, here's a practical way to think about it. Imagine your muscle fibers are the engine of a car, while the tendons and ligaments are the transmission system. You can have the most powerful engine in the world, but if the transmission is weak, the car won't perform, and it may even break down. Collagen ensures your transmission is strong enough to handle the power your muscles generate. The protocol is straightforward. Take 10 to 15 grams of collagen peptides daily, ideally about an hour before training. Pair it with a small amount of vitamin C from fruit or a supplement, since vitamin C is required for collagen synthesis. Consistency matters. Connective tissues repair more slowly than muscles, so think in weeks and months, not days. And here's the empowering part. Collagen isn't just about muscles and tendons. It supports skin elasticity, joint health, even bone strength. That means supplementing with collagen peptides is one of the few strategies that addresses multiple aspects of aging all at once. Before I move to the next powder, let me pause and ask, if you're finding this breakdown helpful, and you believe more people should know how to protect their muscles as they age, do me a favor. Share this video with a friend or family member who could benefit. And if you haven't yet, tap that subscribe button so you don't miss the next science-backed strategies we're unpacking here. Collagen peptides may not give you the immediate pump of a protein shake or the energy surge of creatine, but over time, they create the structural resilience that keeps you strong, mobile, and pain-free. And when it comes to rebuilding muscle fast, durability is just as important as growth. Beetroot powder. The circulation and oxygen powerhouse. Picture this. You've given your muscles the signal to grow with leucine, the building blocks with whey, the energy reserves with creatine, and the structural support with collagen. But there's one more factor that determines how well all of this works. Delivery. How efficiently can oxygen and nutrients actually reach your muscles? That's where beetroot powder comes in. Beetroot is rich in natural compounds called dietary nitrates. When you consume them, your body converts these nitrates into nitric oxide, a signaling molecule that relaxes blood vessels, improves circulation, and enhances oxygen delivery throughout the body. In plain terms, beetroot widens the highways that carry fuel to your muscles. Here's what the science shows. Studies published in the Journal of Applied Physiology and Circulation have demonstrated that nitrate supplementation improves exercise efficiency, reduces fatigue, and increases endurance. One fascinating study even showed that beetroot juice could reduce the oxygen cost of exercise, meaning your muscles need less oxygen to do the same amount of work. That translates into better performance and faster recovery. Now, let's bring this back to muscle rebuilding. When you're trying to recover from muscle loss, whether it's from aging, illness, or just periods of inactivity, improved circulation means faster delivery of amino acids, creatine, and collagen to the places where they're needed most. It's like upgrading from a 2-lane road to a 6-lane highway. The raw materials get to your muscles faster, and waste products like lactic acid are cleared more efficiently. Practical protocol. Aim for 4 to 6 grams of beetroot powder daily. You can mix it into water, smoothies, or even pre-workout drinks. Many people find taking it about 1 to 2 hours before training provides the best boost in blood flow and endurance. And here's a surprising bonus. Nitric oxide production from beetroot doesn't just support muscles. It also supports cardiovascular health and blood pressure regulation. So, in one simple powder, you're enhancing both performance and long-term health. Think of beetroot powder as the oxygen courier. You've already built the construction crew, proteins, amino acids, energy systems, but without efficient delivery, they can't do their job well. Beetroot ensures that the workers are fed, energized, and able to complete the rebuild. This is one of the reasons elite endurance athletes have turned to beetroot juice for performance. But it's just as valuable for someone in their 50s, 60s, or beyond who simply wants better circulation, more stamina, and faster recovery. For muscle loss, we've talked about raw materials, energy, connective tissue, and circulation. But there's one invisible factor that can quietly sabotage all of it: stress, specifically the stress hormone cortisol. Cortisol isn't the enemy. In small amounts, it helps us wake up, mobilize energy, and respond to challenges. But when cortisol stays elevated for too long, it shifts the body into breakdown mode. Muscles become fuel, not priority. And this is where a powerful adaptogen, ashwagandha, comes in. Ashwagandha is a root used in Ayurvedic medicine for thousands of years. But modern science has caught up. Multiple randomized controlled trials, including those published in the Journal of the International Society of Sports Nutrition, show that ashwagandha supplementation can significantly improve muscle strength, recovery, and testosterone levels while lowering cortisol. Here's why that matters for rebuilding muscle fast. Lower cortisol means less muscle breakdown. Higher testosterone, within healthy ranges, means more anabolic signaling to build tissue. Reduced anxiety and stress support better sleep. And sleep is when the majority of muscle repair actually happens. Think of ashwagandha as the stabilizer in this whole system. You can give your body all the amino acids, proteins, and oxygen you want, but if stress hormones are running unchecked, you're trying to build a house in the middle of a storm. Ashwagandha calms the storm, creating conditions where growth and repair can actually take place. Here's a practical way to use it: 300 to 600 milligrams daily of standardized ashwagandha root extract. Look for one with at least 5% with analytes. Best taken in the evening or with dinner, since it promotes relaxation and may support better sleep. Consistency, again, is key. Results often show up after 6 to 8 weeks of regular use. And here's something worth reflecting on. In one 12-week trial, participants taking ashwagandha not only gained more muscle and strength but also reported greater well-being and lower stress. That's a reminder that building muscle isn't just physical. It's deeply tied to our psychological state as well. If you've ever noticed that progress stalls during stressful times, whether work, family, or life transitions, it's not your imagination. Stress literally rewires the hormonal environment of your body. By lowering cortisol and supporting testosterone, ashwagandha ensures that your efforts in the gym and the kitchen actually pay off. So when we talk about rebuilding muscle fast, it's not just about fueling the body. It's about creating the right internal environment where recovery and growth are possible. Ashwagandha helps do exactly that, quietly, steadily, and powerfully. Let's step back and look at the big picture. We began with a surprising fact that in just 2 weeks of inactivity, the human body can lose up to a third of its muscle strength. That loss doesn't just affect appearance. It impacts mobility, metabolism, resilience, even brain function. And as we've seen, muscle isn't just tissue, it's an active organ that communicates with your entire system. Protecting it means protecting your health span. The good news is, science gives us tools. Not fads, not empty promises, but real, evidence-backed strategies that you can apply at any age. We started with leucine powder, the ignition switch that turns on the mTOR pathway and tells your body, yes, now is the time to grow. We layered in whey protein isolate, the fast-acting, complete building material that ensures your muscles actually have the raw resources to repair. We added creatine monohydrate, the battery that powers both muscle and brain, making sure energy isn't the limiting factor in your recovery. Then came collagen peptides, fortifying the scaffolding, tendons, ligaments, fascia. So your rebuilt muscles have a strong, injury-resistant foundation. We expanded with beetroot powder, enhancing circulation so oxygen and nutrients flow efficiently to where they're needed most. And finally, ashwagandha powder, calming the stress storm, lowering cortisol, balancing hormones, and creating the inner environment where growth is possible. Each one of these powders targets a different piece of the puzzle, but together they form a system, a holistic toolkit for rebuilding muscle faster, more effectively, and in a way that supports not just strength, but energy, mobility, and mental clarity. Now, here's the deeper truth. Rebuilding muscle isn't just about aesthetics or performance. It's about independence. It's about being able to carry your groceries, play with your grandchildren, travel without fear of falling, and wake up with energy and confidence. It's about protecting your brain and your body for the decades ahead. And this is where I want to challenge you. Don't just watch this video and file the information away. Choose one tool, just one, and put it into practice today. Maybe it's adding leucine to your protein shake. Maybe it's finally trying creatine. Maybe it's taking collagen with vitamin C before your next walk or workout. Action turns knowledge into transformation. If you've made it this far, you're clearly committed to optimizing your health, and I want to personally invite you to join this community, because this is what we do here. We take neuroscience, psychology, and physiology, and we turn them into practical tools for a longer, stronger, sharper life. So if you haven't yet, hit the like button, subscribe, and share this with someone you care about. Because imagine what it would mean if the people you love were stronger, healthier, and more resilient too. Muscle isn't just strength, it's vitality, it's protection, it's freedom, and with the right tools, you can rebuild it, starting today.